Hey guys, it's Mark and Barron with Arnzen Arms. Looks like you got a project going on.
We do. We're going to dive head first into NRL22, see
Cool.
what I can do with that.
I've been super curious about this, but I haven't pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but or just do puns all day long. But I've been curious about the sport because it's like the barrier to entry seems pretty low, especially compared to other action shooting sports, right?
Absolutely.
In this case, it's a little more gear intensive than say a pistol match, but once you're in, it's pretty cheap. So let's go. Well, first of all, let's set this up. So Lakes Sportsmen's Club here in Minnesota has got the first like regular NRL22 match, and the one we're going to go to is on December 21st, right? So that's just a couple weeks away for us for now. By the time you see this, it'll probably be 10 days out, something like that, maybe a week. So come out and join us. I just talked to their match director, and they are going to run them all winter.
Awesome.
So they're going to be NRL22 matches monthly, year-round at that club.
So if you're really Minnesota brave.
Yeah, and you can get all the information on that on the Forest Lake calendar. It's FLSCMN or ForestLakeSportsmensClub.com. And go to the calendar. You'll see the NRL22 matches there, and there's some blogs there. It's some pretty lightweight stuff. I need to talk to the guy who does the blogging. It's me. Okay, and then the other resource probably to mention right up front is NRL22.org, which is where we got a lot of our information from. Plus, just we got a lot of friends. So, what did you find out about the game? What division? Like, I don't even know enough about it to speak intelligently.
Yeah. So the way the sport is broken down, it is very oriented toward your person that wants to get into just shooting competition, particularly rifle. The starting class is called base class, and it's just based off of MSRP of the rifle and the scope.
Cool.
So, it is absolutely set up for the dude that has his 1022 from 40 years ago sitting in the closet with old loophole on it, can absolutely show up and compete.
Really?
He's not going to be on the level of the guys that have dedicated the money to it, but you're not going to be totally dead in the water trying to show up with something like that.
And that base price has got to be sub 1,050, right?
Yep, 1050, and that's just rifle and optic. That doesn't include mount, sling, bipod, suppressor, any of that stuff.
All right, cool.
And then from there above that, you just go straight into open class, and then you're looking at guys with voodoos and on shoots and all sorts of
super
crazy
goofy
stuff
guns
like that.
that no one's got. Okay, cool. All right, so our goal here was to just do this in the 1050, sub 1050 category, right? So we went and looked around at some different stuff, and we wanted to select a package that was, reasonably affordable, but still going to give you a good result. So what did you decide on ultimately?
So the Ruger Precision Rimfire is kind of perfect for this game. MSRP on this is...
we've got it at, was that $400? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
$400
$400
is our shelf price. I think $450 or
is
something
MSRP.
like that.
Okay, so
MSRP,
rifle $400.
Yep.
And what does that get you over a 1022?
So
That's the cool factor.
I'm a little biased because I have shot these before, and I was blown away with how accurate they are.
Cool.
I've got a number of friends that have these. All of them shoot better than I could explain a 22 can on camera. I mean, I've shot one of these guns out to 200 yards on steel, which feels pretty crazy with a
22
rimfire. So
it's a bolt action platform. You got it looks like a free flow barrel.
Yep, M-lock handguard on here. You've got this super adjustable stock, so you just undo the clip here and you can adjust length of pull and the cheek riser.
That's slick.
Super easy. So it's another nice thing about this gun. If you want to do this competition with your kids, on the range you can pop this, collapse it down. They can run the stage, pop it open again, extend it back for you.
Yeah, just throw some witness marks on there and you can switch it back for it. Really cool.
The other great thing, everybody loves 1022 magazines. So
awesome.
it comes with the 15. You can use the 10s or the 25s.
What's that trigger? Is that their...
This is their, I forget what they call their version.
It's like an accurate
trigger thing, yeah. So
cool.
Yep. And it's running this AR style thumb safety here, and has the lever. So.
Cool gun. It's also, you could suppress it. You could, you would need a break
it's
or
threaded. Yeah, it's a great gun for this type of program.
All right, and then so that's $400, and then we paired that with
the Diamondback Tactical First Focal Plane from Vortex.
Okay.
So this has their EBR2C reticle in it. So you've got that full Christmas tree Horus-esque type reticle where you've got elevation and windage holds.
Okay.
Is
it daylight bright? That's the only.
It's not even illuminated. So. the scope Vortex made to do a lot of different sports. In particular, it goes down to 15 yards for parallax. That's what it's marked to, which would be like your 22 competitions.
Yeah.
This is the 6 to 24. They also make a 4 to 16. I figured, looking at some of the targets that some of these matches have, I wanted more magnification, I think.
To give you some idea, that the ranges are out to potentially 200 yards.
Yes,
potentially, but the targetry is what gets you. So you can have a 50-yard 1-inch circle. So it's or 100 yards 1 inch. It's 1 MOA. I mean, it's the size of your reticle tip. So I mean, they're little tiny targets. So you went with the higher magnification, which I think is a smart move. And that unit is $250. So we're at
250. 350.
Was it 250? Yeah, 250.
250. Oh, that's the
412. Oh, I got the wrong box. All right, well, so it's 350 for the
three. If I remember right, 350 on the.
All right, let me double check that while you talk smack.
Yep. So has the exposed turret, so you can dial with that. Parallax adjustment. Like I said, first focal plane, so you have true measurement through your reticle at all magnifications. Obviously, your diopter, focus adjustment, things like that on here. Again, this was influenced by other people I know that have this rifle and do some of the NRL22 stuff. So they've got, some of them have this identical setup that we're going to show you here. There's a reason that we came to this. So, paired with that, for the mount, I grabbed one of the Vortex mounts that we have here. I don't get too bent around the axle about what mount we're going to use. If you buy a decent mount, it's a good mount. We've had good luck with the Vortexes. We have a lot of the Warren products here. Those, if I was just buying mounts in the mid-price range, that's where I would default to. But yeah, this Vortex Pro Series mount I think will work just as well as the Warrens do. And I don't see any reason in this case used to jump up to like a Night Force. Don't really need a titanium mount. Not too worried about weight on this setup. So,
all right. So the Diamondback Tactical I just verified is $400. But you could do the 4 to 12 at $250.
Okay.
Get you in the game.
Yep.
And then at $400, so we're at $800 total right now for the package we're putting together.
Yeah, and I'll have to look up MSRP again, and maybe we can post that in the notes. But,
well, look, this is everyday prices, circa snapshot time 2019. I mean, we're retail, so we're not scraping the nickels off the bottom of the things, and we're not gouging anybody. So this is actually a pretty good. This is what you can expect to find price wise. So we're at $800, and then those rings you selected were $140. So we're at $940 is the bare minimum what you need.
Yep, and then you've got set up, put together. You can show up and shoot.
Yeah, you're all good to go.
Yep.
Cool. There are, however, some shooting positions that you have to deal with.
Yep. And, things like a Slingerite bipod were the next upgrades that we're going to talk about. And, that obviously having some artificial stabilization to your gun is good for accuracy.
So, So starting out, we picked the Magpul. It looks cool. It also is a good design. It's very lightweight. It fits very well with the rifle.
Yep.
You could do Harris and spend another $10-20 or whatever. These guys are $110 and another like $9 for the rail section this year. $120 for that. The other option you might want to look at. We just grabbed simple stuff. You can go up or down in price in all this.
Yep.
This is the Magpul QD sling.
Yep.
The rifle's got the QD rear socket.
Yes.
So you'd need $65 for this and about $25 for a front socket. Can you lock it into that rail section?
No, there's no plug in here, but
cool.
You've got it on the back at least.
Yeah, so you're at let's say another $90 for this. So you've got $200 worth of kind of first round toys to add on, and then ammo.
So I talked to a lot of people that shoot these guns. Talked to a lot of different people that just shoot things like small bore. Precision work with rimfire guns. The consistent answer I got from a lot is for the balance of price and performance, the CCI standards are where it's at.
Cool.
And that was a almost unanimous opinion, it seems.
And these are $9 per 100. we don't have an exact accurate round count. It says everywhere from 70 to 140 for a match, right? So let's just say 100. Bring 200 rounds to the match, especially at this price. If any of you done any other action shooting, you know that's nothing. So you got $16 worth of ammo and a $15 match fee. You're going home with
a cheap match.
You're going home with 50 or 60 rounds for sighting in or solving any problems you had at the last match for the next match. I think it's pretty reasonable. So $30 to shoot the match. It's, you're going to shoot 4 or 5 stages.
Yep.
Hang out with the guys all day and the gals, and just have a great time. So, cool. Well, let's go put the sucker together, and then we'll wrap this all up.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, did you get everything you wanted for Christmas?
I did.
Cool. Tell us, just run down the gun real quick, and what were your thoughts on this?
So we've got, starting at the muzzle here, put on the Magpul bipod right out at the front here. I've used these bipods before. I'm really fond of them.
Okay.
There's a little bit more play in them than your Harris's or obviously your Atlas's.
Yep.
But if you're good about preloading the bipod, these work awesome.
Right on. They look good too. I mean, it's everything you need, nothing you don't, and they look
Exactly.
appropriate. Yeah, and they're light.
Yeah, and they're cheaper than all of their competition without getting into your actual cheap bipod.
Yeah, because the Harris one's $120 to start, and then you've got to buy whatever fixture you want.
Yep.
So you're at like $140, $150. So you save $50 there, easy.
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, then obviously we got the Diamondback first focal point on the top here. I am going minutes of angle on this one, not MRAD. They do make both.
Okay.
I plan on going MRAD in the future, but I don't know it well enough now that I want to just go run out and shoot a competition with it.
Yeah, perfect.
So, and then from there, it's just going to be getting this adjusted and
cool.
Give
Yeah,
it
it's a
a zero.
handsome rifle. All right, so cool. So the whole package you're looking at right here is $940 if you paid retail for it. And for those of you that are watching this that are interested in this gun, as you see it right here, is going to get a couple hundred rounds through it, and then it's going to go up for sale as a complete package. Lightly used, so we'll take great care of it. And you'll see the gun get pretty much every shot it takes. You'll probably see on camera.
Yep.
And then if you're interested in getting into this game, or you just want a highly accurate 22 for well under $1,000, there's your gun. All right, cool. All right, well, we'll see you guys on the range. We're gonna go out and test drive this thing in 21st and see what kind of result you get.